going over the new Project Turntable that just dropped. This is an in-depth look to Project Turntable. So this is the character I started with. This is just a flat PNG because I've been working off parts. So he's a little beside himself at the moment. So coming down here, I'll show off a few of the things I've had success with and a few things I haven't had success with in Turntable. Starting off our legs, if you see our legs here, they came out absolutely fantastic. I generated them together. I also tried generating each individual leg, and I found generating them individually gave me more consistent results. Like I didn't have this pink in the sandal, and the feet were usually a little more consistent. It looks a little AIE in spots, but the layering, like the perspective, is better with generating the legs together. I thought the angles came out really nice. Coming in, looking at the instrument, this is guitar. Obviously, I started with this angle here, and it figured out the rest. I did do a little cleanup. There wasn't too much cleanup needed, though. Guitar came out nice. Coming in, let's take a look at the arms. So here's the arms. I generated the arm individually just to see because we were having so many issues generating full characters. So we're seeing if we can generate it part by part. So I did arms and then I also did hands. So if we come into layers, which one here? Here we go. You can see we have all of these as well. And if we zoom in here, you can see we have a really nice hand turn. The top of the sleeve right here isn't implemented, but I was going to go back through and add that in the generation so it turns with the arm because it handled it pretty well across the arm turn. I just forgot to include it in the hand turn. It's up here. It's separate. So you can see the arms and the hands came out really, really nice. The fingers and spots, like up here, you can see we start to like lose perspective a little bit. That's where generating in maybe these other hand shapes might be a little more beneficial because we could take something like this and throw it up here, maybe one of the more extreme angles that's more of like just the pinky. So it figured out the fingers better when it was just the hand. But when it's the whole arm, the fingers kind of turn into unholy monstrosities. Let's see here. We finished the arms. I did go over the heads. The heads is why we have all this space here. See if we can find it. There we go. So coming in, this is the one we started with right here. And then here are the different generations. See, like this one, the nose will need turned around because we're turning the other direction. There's very little cleanup that's needed. And this nose is a little long in spots. I'll probably trim it down. So this is the rotation on the x-axis without altering the y. Coming over here, we altered the y-axis a little bit. We had more of a top view. You can see it really pops as a 3D model. We lose a little bit of the hair in spots, the braids, especially on the frontal. We lose some of the outlines on the pupils. I noticed that's pretty common. It sometimes doesn't know what to do with outlines. I once generated a hand that had a heavy outline, and it kind of turned it into almost like a coin, where it was just kind of extruded out, but not really 3D. And then here's the upward angle. You see we have a little bit of cleanup on the mouth. I do like that lip right there, though, but it's not consistent, so that'll need cleaned up. But that does actually look kind of nice. So you can see the possibilities here. The amount of work saved just right here. Now, of course, when it comes to mouth shapes, like talking down like this, that's going to be a little more difficult because the extreme angle that you have here, you'd almost have to generate one head per mouth shape needed and then rotate them all like this and isolate out the mouth from each section. That's an insane amount of effort, but you could have every single one of these heads have a talking mouth that way. let's see here. What else did we generate? Oh, yes, the torso. Now, I was having trouble with the torso. Let's see here. So here it is, and I ran into some problems. And I'll tell you what they are. The first problem is there's no head. It doesn't know what to do with this black part right here. It doesn't. It has zero depth to it, so it has no idea. So I removed this, um, and I started to generate. And sometimes, most of the time, it would say it's running into a problem that it couldn't generate. It needed a different outline. But I had a feeling it was because it just didn't know what was going on. Like, there's a lot going on here, but what is it? You can't really tell if you don't like tell it, hey, this is a torso. So, as soon one of the generations, it put a face on this. It like had a nose and a mouth, and it was backwards. So I didn't see it until I started rotating. So, but it still came out really wonky because it thought the face was on the back side of them, not the front side. So I had the brilliant idea of drawing a little face on them. So I just used the exact same torso, and I drew a face on them. And then if we come here and we select all, and we come to Object Turntable, you can see it did a pretty good job. I have to add that gray in on the abs. It fills it in with blue and leaves it transparent. Sometimes it's purple. You can see it adds ears to them. But now I can just go in and trim off this top from each angle, and I have a perfectly usable torso. And it adds a nice depth of shadow to the neck. So adding a little face on your torso will help it generate better. Problems I ran into is you're only allowed to have 80 generations per file. So you're going to need a separate file open, preferably one that's RGB, not CMYK, silly me. Um, and you're going to want to generate in this. And then when you're done generating in this, delete it or copy and paste it to your master file, and then delete it from this file. That way you're still at 0. As far as tokens goes, this prompted me and told me that it was using like tokens to generate. But if you press the home button and click on your profile picture, you can see I still have 4,500 credits, and I've been using this all day. So I don't think it's on a credit based system. I think it's pretty much unlimited. The limit is 80 per file. So 80 here, 80 here, 80 here. That's about it. Generating parts individually seems to be better, but figuring out how to group those individual parts, like for example, using two legs, uh, like over here, using two legs instead of one at a time, really, I think gave it depth. And I would like to try it with the two arms just to see what it would do. I hope you guys found this video helpful and useful, and I hope it inspires you to go out and create something magnificent. And if you want to support me, I'm creating a Dungeons and Dragons Battle of the Band style show that is now in full effect. Like, I'm working on it day and night. That's what all this is. So expect to see more news on that soon. Thanks for checking it out, and happy animating.